Greetings to you, gang. Kawaii50 here with another Fate Grand Order video, and it's time for me to talk with you about one of my favorite heroes of Greek mythology that is not Achilles' course. That servant being Odysseus, a new permanent addition to the summonable servant roster. We're going to be going over Odysseus' best allies, command codes, craft essences, skills you need to prioritize, the whole 9 yards to ensure that the hero of the Trojan War is an effective strategist for your entire team. So hopefully this video ends up helping you out, whether you're a newbie or a veteran. And if it does, be sure to go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, and etc. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So Odysseus runs a quick arts buster deck with an AoE arts type noble phantasm, so he has the ability to arts brave chain. His max HP of 13,284 is respectable, as is his max attack of 11,795. His NP per hit is fairly good at a 0.58%, and with his 2 arts cards stacked with his Noble Phantasm, Odysseus does have a lot of the potential to loop his Noble Phantasm, so be prepared for that, especially when the Castoria meta becomes a reality. His star absorption, as befitting of a rider, is very high, sitting at 208, so expect him to take all of your critical stars. They're his, nothing you can do about it. Odysseus' first skill is the Resourceful General's Inspiration rank B++. This gives he and his allies quick card effectiveness and arts card effectiveness. That's 10 to 20% for 3 turns. And he also applies a target focus to all allies except the targeted ally for 3 turns. So this makes sure you can protect your main damage dealer when the going's about to get tough, and you can go ahead and target servants where you use their buffs, and now it's alright if they leave the field. No big deal. Remember that this does stack with Odysseus' own passive, quick, and arts bonuses, so he's going to be having a little extra already to start with. So this is a very effective skill for him. I still recommend you max it second. There's one more skill that's going to be a little more important for Odysseus, but this is a skill definitely worth maxing no matter what. And that more important skill is Devote Thyself to One Purpose, Love, rank A. Isn't that just sweet? This increases Odysseus' NP gauge by 20 to 30% and increases his critical star gather rate for 1 turn. Befitting of Odysseus' legend, this also grants him 5 turns of complete and utter charm immunity. So none of those servants are going to work on him. Uriel, your days are numbered. I'm sorry about that. But the main reason you want to max this is that 20 to 30% NP gauge charge. That is going to be very effective if you're just a little bit away from doing that full Noble Phantasm loop. And Odysseus' final skill is Aegis rank A. This is his main survivability skill, giving him a turn of invincibility. It also grants him 1 turn of buff removal resistance and increases his own defense by 20 to 30% for 3 turns. So you're still going to get a higher defensive option even after that invincibility wears off. The main reason we're maxing this last is because, well, Odysseus is a more offensive focused servant. So defensive options are more a last resort option than anything else. For Odysseus' append skills, we really only need to go with mana loading. That 10 to 20% starting NP gauge is good on pretty much anybody, and if you use this combined with Odysseus' second skill maxed out, you already have half of your Noble Phantasm charged and ready to go. Odysseus' Noble Phantasm is obviously what he's most famous for, Troia Hippos rank B++, the Trojan horse. This has some very good effects other than just being a solid AoE Noble Phantasm. The damage is decent, that's good, but there's 2 other bonuses it has that I really think push it above and beyond your standard bread and butter AoE Noble Phantasm. First off, it removes all defensive buffs from the enemies before damage is dealt. That includes defense up, evade, as well as invincibility. And it also grants Odysseus an extra boost by increasing his own Noble Phantasm strength for that 1 turn. Some players think it's a real shame that Odysseus isn't able to keep that Noble Phantasm damage for multiple turns, and while that would be more optimal, this Noble Phantasm still ends up being very potent. This is definitely worth having, and as with most servants, unfortunately, In spite of Odysseus's rarity, a second level on this Noble Phantasm is going to be a huge boost to its overall effectiveness. So if you pull NP2 Odysseus, consider yourself very lucky. If you're looking for the most effective allies for Odysseus, you're going to have to wait just a little longer on NA until Caster Artoria comes out. She is going to be the best servant bar none to pair your Odysseus with, because she's going to give him a lot of potential to loop his Noble Phantasm. If you're looking for a placeholder supporter right now, Tamamo no Mai is going to be your go-to, and Caster Gilgamesh also provides a respectable option as well. There are, of course, some other servants I would like to mention in the following section. This includes servants that are better for free-to-play players and servants that, hey, let's try something different. So let's take a look at those. My first mention for free-to-play players is going to be Hans Christian Andersen, as well as for newbies. Listen, if you haven't leveled up your Hans, you are making a grave mistake, and you need to do that immediately. This man is an excellent supporter for absolutely anybody starting the game, and even veterans like myself will still use him on occasion. He can grant allies critical stars every turn, NP gauge every turn, grant everyone a critical strength boost, as well as increase everyone's attack and defense while restoring their HP. The man is basically a servant that fits on pretty much any team, so make sure you level him up. For arts in particular, I want to recommend Paracelsus von Hohenheim, and Hohenheim is a very, very important servant right now when it comes to looping Noble Phantasms, and that's because of his third Philosopher's Stone skill, granting massive NP gain for one ally for 3 turns. Elemental is no slouch of an additional skill either, granting everyone arts card effectiveness. On pretty much all of my arts looping teams and on my Chen Gong Explosion team, Hohenheim is an absolute must-have. This man needs to be on the team. Players looking forward to summer will be pleased to know that Odysseus is one of Brynhilda's beloved, so he will gain benefits from Brynhilda Berserker. This is Brynhilda's third skill, Summertime Lover's Rank EX, which grants additional arts and buster card effectiveness to all of her loved ones. That, of course, including Odysseus. The buster card effectiveness isn't really the big deal here since he only has 1 buster card, but that arts card effectiveness is going to be incredibly helpful. And finally, I'd like to mention Chiron. Chiron is an absolutely incredible supporter you can swap in or out very quickly to grant one particular servant some heavy boosts. Wisdom of the Divine Gift increases all of a servant's card effectivenesses, and on top of that, his Eternal Dedication skill is really good on servants that eat a lot of critical stars, like Odysseus, because it grants critical stars immediately as well as a critical strength boost. These 2 skills alone make Chiron worth swapping in and out quickly on your team in order to provide one servant with an excellent attack boost. For craft essences for Odysseus, odds are you're going to pick Kaleidoscope first and foremost, since that grants an easy turn 1 Noble Phantasm. There's just not a lot about K-Scope that can be beat. Meeting of the Heirs is also an excellent option that showed up around case files. This grants arts card effectiveness, NP gain, and critical stars every single turn, allowing Odysseus to make use of his high star weight by generating them himself. If you happen to pull a Painting Summer, that is also a very, very good craft essence pull. What do I mean by that? I actually mean getting from the event where it happened. Gosh, I need to rethink this. So arts card effectiveness, NP gain, as well as a starting NP gauge made this one of the most excellent craft essences to come out from an event. See? I corrected myself. Of course, you may find that your Odysseus, based on Castoria supporters and other options, is in an excellent position to easily gain the charge to turn 1 Noble Phantasm, and you want more than enough NP gain to make sure you don't have to charge that Noble Phantasm on subsequent turns. If you have reached that apex point with Odysseus, I would definitely recommend the Black Grail for the massive NP strength boost, so you can get yourself some nice overkill effects. You are going to watch the Trojan Horse deal absurd amounts of damage if you got this thing equipped. And finally, command codes. When it comes to any servant designed to use their Noble Phantasm effectively, I've always got to mention Da Vinci Chan. This grants NP damage up by 15% for 1 turn when attacking using the engraved card. You have to use the engraved card before you use Odysseus's Noble Phantasm, but this effect will stack with the effect from his Noble Phantasm, so you're going to get a lot of damage out of that. Odysseus, while he is immune to charm, also really doesn't have a lot of options for removing debuffs from himself. So if you have a copy of White Vessel's Command Seal lying around, or the freebie variation Code Cure, those can be good picks to throw on Odysseus's cards as well. If you're looking to get a little more damage out of his singular buster card, you can throw Mistress of the Heavens on there for a 25% boost to critical damage. When it comes to Odysseus's arts cards, however, I mainly like putting Star Gather on those. So that way, if you end up not finishing off an enemy and you need a little bit of extra Noble Phantasm, you can try to do as much of an arts chain as you can to fill up Odysseus's Noble Phantasm gauge to attack again, as well as just dealing some good critical damage. Immature Illusionary Command Seal is usually the go-to for arts cards, but any Star Gather command code that works on an arts card is going to be effective. And for Odysseus's quick cards, go ahead and give him something like Code Glitter. Extra stars are never bad, especially when your servant is a rider, and is going to be eating all of them. Overall, gang, Odysseus is a very good AoE art servant that you should be happy to add to your roster. Now, one thing you do have to consider is that he is not the apex of AoE art servants. You won't see this man putting in work like you would get from, say, a Space Ishtar or a Musashi Summer Berserker. Those are really some of the biggest art servants when it comes to looping. But Odysseus does have the potential to loop, and his skills do complement his kit well, so he will be a strong addition to your team regardless. Seriously, if you ended up summoning an Odysseus, first, I am jealous of you, but secondly, you should feel proud because you've got a very good rider to add to your team. And since the rider class is already made up of very good characters, that's legitimately saying something. But of course, I want to know what you all think, so let me know your thoughts about Odysseus down in the comment section below. Let me know if you think there are any allies, craft essences, or command codes that I might have missed when making this video summarizing this servant. And if you were lucky enough to summon Odysseus, share your good fortune down below as well. I really think he's an excellent servant, and I'm quite liking him in the current event that's out while this video has been recorded. It's been great. I love his interactions with all the characters. He has really made me happy. I just wish I could get him, but we'll see what happens in the future now, won't we? If you want to talk more Fate Grand Order, of course, my Discord server is always open. I want to give a big thanks to the patrons on Patreon, the subscribers and followers over on Twitch, and of course, all of you on YouTube, because you all give me the motivation to continue coming out here and making these videos. And I really do appreciate all of your support, whatever form it ends up coming in. But anyways, gang, this is Kawaii50. I hope you all have a phenomenal day, and I will see you all in the next video.